ILYSIA is a VR MMORPG coming to PC VR, Oculus Quest, and PlayStation VR. It has just entered its Alpha 2 stage, titled ILYSIA: Rise of BAL'RAMOS, and is available to anyone who backed it during its crowdfunding stages or has won a key through the giveaways on the official Discord, link below. The guardian BAL'RAMOS has just awoken, causing a long dormant volcano to erupt in the island of Waydar. Earthquakes caused by this eruption have created havoc throughout the island, causing wild animals to go crazy and toka parties to raid numerous villages. The Andari, ILYSIA's elf race, took notice of this and sent an ambassador to Waydar to teach humans magic so they could help fight off BAL'RAMOS and save the island from its terror. When you launch ILYSIA, you'll be met with a screen asking you to choose a realm. This is ILYSIA's way of handling servers. If you're looking to play with friends, it'll be of your interest to log into the same realm. Characters you create are playable across all of the realms. Once you log in with a character, you'll be put into a random group. Groups are smaller shards within each realm that only keep a certain amount of players visible to each other at one time to keep a stable performance. As you travel around the world, you may notice the game automatically switching you between groups. If you're playing with friends, you'll stay in the same group so long as you don't stray too far from each other. ILYSIA: Rise of BAL'RAMOS includes two races: Laginans, which are just your typical humans, and the Andari, the new elven race. The Andari are very connected to nature and magic and stand out with their unique features such as horns with glowing veins, shining eyes, and space-like skin colors that glitter like stars in the night sky. ILYSIA brings a highly customizable character creation system to its players during this alpha stage. Besides gender and skin color, users will be able to customize just about any facial feature in their character, including hair, eyebrows, eyes, nose, cheeks, lips, jaws, chin, and, when applicable, horns and collars. Every time you enter the world of ILYSIA with a character, you'll find yourself in a room with a mirror where you'll be able to pick between standing and sitting modes, head and controller oriented movement, smooth and snap turn, as well as adjusting your height. This current alpha stage supports smooth locomotion only, however, players who are more prone to motion sickness also have a vignette system with an intensity slider at their disposal. ILYSIA's in-game menu includes settings, inventory, skill trees, quest log, and social. Settings allow you to adjust your calibration, locomotion, and comfort options, as well as audio settings. You can also check the controls, toggle PvP on and off, and log out. Inventory is where all of your items are stored and where you equip your character, as well as checking your current stats. Skill trees is where you improve your character by unlocking various skills and special abilities, depending on your preferred playstyle. Quest log is where you can consult the description and goal of each one of your quests and look at which ones are in progress and which ones you've completed. Social lets you see players that are online and in the same group as you, as well as allowing you to mute them or yourself. ILYSIA features an open class system, which means you're able to equip whatever you'd like and build your character through different skill trees and the stats your equipment gives you. Each time you level up, you'll gain 3 skill points that you can use to progress through the skill trees of your choice. To level up, players can gain experience points through completing quests and killing mobs. You can progress in melee combat by unlocking the martial discipline skill tree. This will allow you to obtain skills such as faster running and higher jumps, less stamina consumption for both movement and attacking, as well as increased melee damage and special abilities. Melee weapons currently in the game include clubs, swords, and axes. Melee benefits from plate and chain armor, providing the player with strength, constitution, and armor class, but decreasing their intelligence and wisdom stats. Thus, melee damage, maximum HP, and damage resistance are increased, but magic damage is severely affected. Melee combat comes down to equipping 1 or 2 melee weapons and swinging at your enemies. Damage is velocity based, which means you'll want to perform wide and fast swings in order to deal the most damage. Once unlocked, you can activate its special ability by holding your weapon up in the air and pressing your trigger before swinging down at your foes for triple damage and a chance to stun and interrupt spells. You can progress in ranged combat by unlocking the ranged focus skill tree. This will allow you to obtain skills such as increased range damage and special abilities. Ranged weapons currently in the game include solely bows. Ranged benefits from leather armor, providing the player with dexterity, constitution, and armor class, but unlike plate armor, doesn't decrease any other stats. Thus, ranged damage, maximum HP, and damage resistance are increased. Ranged combat will have the players draw their bow back and holding for a second before they can shoot it. Shooting while moving will penalize the player for 50% damage, while shooting while standing still will provide with a full 100% damage. Once unlocked, you can activate its special ability by drawing your bow back and holding for 4 seconds until your arrow starts glowing. Then you can shoot it for triple damage and a chance to stun and interrupt spells. You can progress in magic combat by unlocking the Arcane Study skill tree. This will allow you to obtain different spells and elements. Magic in ILYSIA's current alpha stage works by equipping a magical weapon and drawing different shapes to activate various spells. Once a spell is activated, it will shine at the tip of the user's magical weapon for a short period of time, during which the player should either cast it or let it disappear. In order to cast a spell, the player must be standing still, otherwise they won't be able to cast any magic. Mana is only consumed upon casting a spell, and each spell shape has its own cooldown. Magical weapons currently in the game include wands and staves. Magic benefits from cloth armor, providing the player with intelligence, wisdom, and armor class, but just like leather armor, does not decrease any other stats. Thus, magic damage and damage resistance are increased. Dart is the first spell players will unlock. It consists of drawing an horizontal line in front of you while holding down your trigger. This is a single target spell with a cooldown of 3 seconds. Putting points into Dart will intensify its effect. Ball is the second spell players will learn. It consists of drawing a full circle in front of you while holding down your trigger. This is an AoE spell with a cooldown of 5 seconds. Putting points into Ball will intensify its effect and increase maximum traveling range. AoE is the third spell players will acquire. It consists of drawing a lasso shape from the side of your body to right above your head while holding down your trigger. This is an AoE spell that remains on the field for 9 seconds with a cooldown of 10. Putting points into AoE will intensify its effect and increase its radius. To each one of these spell shapes, players will be able to assign a specific element to change each spell's properties, and these can be changed at any single time. Fire will turn any shape into an offensive high damage spell, and putting points into it will increase its damage output. Ice will turn any shape into a damaging spell with a chance to slow enemies. Putting points into Ice will increase its chance to slow enemies and its duration. Holy will turn any shape into a healing spell. Putting points into Holy will increase its healing amount. You can unlock the Defensive Arts skill tree to become better with your shields. This will allow you to obtain skills such as reduced stamina consumption upon blocking, higher shield durability, and special abilities. Each shield has its own durability and block chance. While wielding a shield, you can hold your trigger to potentially block incoming attacks. Each time you block, you'll hear a thud and your shield will lose some of its durability, represented by an icon on its back. Once it breaks, it remains unusable for a short period of time until it fully regenerates. Once unlocked, you can activate its special ability by holding down A or X or squeezing your grip and smacking your enemy with a shield for a chance to stun or interrupt spells. ILYSIA Rise of BAL'RAMOS currently offers a plethora of enemies and 2 dungeon bosses. You'll be able to find rats, vermin, toka, turtles, boars, spiders, wolves, and elementals. As for dungeon bosses, players will currently fight Trogar and BAL'RAMOS after clearing through 2 different dungeons. The first dungeon will be found in the Arden region and contains some of the enemies the players have fought up to that point. The second dungeon lies in the volcano where BAL'RAMOS has awoken, where players will fight every enemy found within the burned wastelands. Should you be into PvP, ILYSIA's Alpha provides its players with an opt-in system. Simply access the settings and activate a PvP combat flag, but keep in mind there's a cooldown of 10 seconds before you can deactivate it again. From that point on, any players that are also flagged will be able to fight you anywhere in the world. Beware where you point your weapons though, as you can also hurt yourself while in this mode. Killing players currently has no rewards or consequences. Much like what you would expect, once your HP hits 0, you will die. Don't worry, however, you won't die in real life as well. Upon dying, you'll respawn at the nearest graveyard and you'll notice everything will be black and white. Now you have 2 options. You can either travel to your grave and click on it to resurrect with no penalties, or you can click on the big gravestone at the graveyard to respawn right there with a 5-minute debuff to your stats. While dead, alive players won't see you and mobs will ignore you. There's also an option in the settings menu that'll kill you and teleport you to the closest graveyard. In ILYSIA Rise of BAL'RAMOS, players are able to consume food and potions to heal themselves, recover mana points, or regain stamina. Simply bring up your consumable item to your mouth and you'll see a circle fill up as you consume it. This also works if you bring up a consumable item up to the mouth of one of your friends and they'll be able to consume it as well. So now you can force feed your friends. Food can mostly be acquired through fishing, killing mobs, and vendors. There are currently 5 types of food you can eat. Apples, which heal for 5 HP, mushrooms, which heal for 10 HP, eggplants, which heal for 20 HP, tacos, which heal for 30 HP and recover 10 mana, and burritos, which heal for 10 HP and recover 30 mana. As for potions, there are also 4 different types: health potions, mana potions, stamina potions, and rejuvenation potions, the latter restoring multiple stats. The first profession in the world of ILYSIA sees the light of day as fishing. Players can get their first fishing pole for free at Arthur's Odds and Ends at the Wrenching Whale, the first tavern found in Aenor. To fish, simply go up to a body of water, equip your fishing pole in either hand, hold the trigger, and then swing the fishing pole towards the water as you let go of the trigger in unison. With the hook now in the water, your controller will vibrate occasionally. Wait patiently until you see a splash around the hook together with a splashing sound, then hold the trigger and pull the fishing pole towards you. Congratulations, you got your first boot? Better luck next time. There are currently 3 types of fish you can catch: catfish, which heals for 15 HP, trout, which heals for 20 HP, and the bluegill, which recovers 20 mana. If you're unlucky, you'll just get a boot instead, but at least you can sell it at any vendor. This stage of ILYSIA brings a main quest line and a couple of side quests. After helping ease down the commotion at Arbormor's Isle and learning basic combat skills, players will be taken through a series of quests to help clear the various Toka camps around the world and investigating the cause for the volcano's eruption and how everything is connected. As adventurers travel around Aenor, they will also be able to find NPCs giving out side quests, such as recovering totems lost to the wolves or catching fish for a desperate fisherman. ILYSIA's Alpha brings a great navigation system. Players can shade their eyes with their hands to bring up icons on screen that indicate which direction they're facing, where their objectives are located, and the location of the various fast travel vehicles, as well as how far away they are from each point. In-game, players are able to run, crouch, slide, jump, climb, swim, and glide. Players can climb certain surfaces in the world of ILYSIA, such as ropes, ladders, ledges, bricks, and vines. To start climbing, bring your hand up to a climbable surface until you hear a sound effect and your controller vibrates. Then, simply either squeeze your grip or hold the X or A buttons and drag yourself in any direction. Latching onto something consumes 1 stamina per second. Adventuring won't be limited to dry land, as players can also dive into the underwater to find caves filled with tokas. After around 120 seconds underwater, users will run out of oxygen and start losing 1 HP per second until they either swim back to the surface or die. Finally, each player will start with a paraglider they can use to traverse the world more easily. To glide, simply bring one or both controllers above your head and hold the triggers. The difference lies in that with both controllers held, you can turn with your joystick, whereas with one controller only, you may only turn with your body. Holding your joystick forward will make you glide faster. Gliding consumes 3 stamina per second. ILYSIA provides its players with ways to traverse the world in a quicker and more relaxed manner. There are currently 6 airships and 1 ship, each of which will take you between 2 different towns. These were also conveniently built by the people of Aenor, so each airship will take you to the next town you have to walk to in order to progress in the questline. These won't teleport you, however, so feel free to have a sit and just enjoy the view. At each tavern, players will be able to find an NPC where they can buy and sell goods. Each region will have its own shop with different items, which means NPCs at later regions will sell better products. Players can gain money by completing quests and selling drops they loot from enemies. During this alpha phase, players will find themselves in the island of Aenor. Each adventurer will start in a ship that just arrived at Arbormor's Isle and move through 5 different regions as they progress through the main story. These are, in order, Ebermore, the starting zone, Arnon, a vast forest-like region, Kalen, an mountain-looking area, Morden, a snowy forest with a fort, and finally, Dale, a burned-down wasteland with pools of lava where the volcano in which BAL'RAMOS awaits has erupted. As the player progresses through these, they'll be able to find mountains, hills, towns, caves, waterfalls, rivers, bridges, toka camps, beaches, and much more. Be sure to explore thoroughly. Now, the world is no doubt my favorite part about ILYSIA, and because of that, I want to describe it in my own way, without reading a script, without preparing it beforehand, just because I want it to come from the heart. So hear me out. ILYSIA has an absolutely gorgeous world. It's magnificent. It's full of life and full of personality, and there are so many different things to look at, and you feel so immersed. You can walk alongside a path and just look at your sides, and there's roots coming out of the dirt, and there's mountains and hills with different levels of heights. There's different platforms, and then you will eventually just walk past maybe a patch of bushes with trees, and you'll find a river, and from that river it follows into a huge waterfall that's just so majestic and huge, and it's completely phenomenal. The things that you can see in that game are just wow. I mean, there's been times where I've just been traveling with people, and you know, sometimes I turn off the music and just listen to the ambient sounds. You know, there's been times where we were just like sitting down by a ledge of grass, and below us was just a lake. All we could hear was just the sound of the water flowing, the sound of the birds chirping, the wind, and we looked around us, all the trees, we saw the wildlife in the distance. We pulled out our fishing poles from our bags, and we just started fishing together and just relaxing and just taking everything in and realizing how immersive and amazing and beautiful the world was. And this is just from the starting areas. This is just from Arnon. And because it is all so pretty, even across the other regions, such as Kylan and Morden, the snow hills and mountains with the snowy trees and the wolves running around. There are points of interest that you find around ILYSIA that are just suddenly massive, absolutely massive chasms with humongous waterfalls and portals that you find into dungeons and caves hidden behind waterfalls. It's just mind-blowing. The world feels so full and so alive. You can be at the top of a chasm and glide over the chasm onto another platform and glide over the trees, and then you can just look out and see all the treetops. And it's just it's amazing. It's beautiful. I am so in love with the world of ILYSIA just because of how gorgeous and immersive everything is, how alive and just full of personality. When you're in towns, at the docks, you see an airship arriving or a ship in the water, and then you look around yourself and there's trees, there's a toka camp, there's a chasm, there's treetops, there's boars walking around. It's magnificent, really. And I suppose I'm focusing so much on Arnon just because to me it's the prettiest zone in the entire game. Dale being my second. Dale is either my first or my second favorite. I'm not sure. I like how Arnon is like super gorgeous, and when it comes to prettiness, it's definitely my favorite. Dale, however, has such a huge charm to it just because of how cool it looks, and with all the volcanoes and everything, it's phenomenal. It's so cool. These are all words generally coming from my heart and not just reading a script that I wrote up beforehand, just because I really wanted to get across how brilliant the world is. And I really hope that you guys will enjoy your trips around this world as well, because Aenor is a gorgeous island. And man, I can't wait to just hang out with a bunch of other players and do the things that I'm used to doing in VR chat, which is just relaxing and chilling. in these relaxing environments. But anyway, that is everything you need to know about ILYSIA's Alpha 2. It is a closed alpha only for backers. However, if you'd like to join the alpha, there will be giveaways for keys throughout the duration of the alpha up until the 8th of April. So if you'd like to get one, join the Discord and join the giveaways rule for a chance to get an alpha key. Thank you so much for watching. Leave any comments below if you have any questions, and I will see you in game. Goodbye.